Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. Mike Veach to my left. I'm Mark Asano. And the Garden City goes to backseat rhythm for Pat Reynolds, Javier Castellano by a half over Pure Clan, and I really don't think she cared for the going. Ariege was third, and my Princess Jess finished fourth. All right, to introduce our next guest, a first-timer to the program, here's Michael.
And Mark and audience, it's going to be fun to make this introduction because we have with us this morning Liz Gray, who trains Obsequious, who goes to the matron. So Liz, if you're there, good morning from Mark and Mike at Down the Stretch.
Hi, how are you?
Good morning,
Very
Liz.
well, Liz. I'm glad you can be with us today. And before we get to the particulars about Obsequious, would you please tell our audience about yourself, a little biographical background, and how you came to training?
Well, I feel like I've been on the backside for 100 years. It's been a lot of years. I've worked for some great people, always as an assistant, and took a little break last October 1st and reconsidered what I wanted to do and had some great invitations to come back and train on my own. So I did, and I'm tickled to death, and I'm glad. And I'm very fortunate that I have this nice little 2-year-old filly and some other ones coming up, and I'm happy about it.
Well, Liz, that's good. We're happy about it, too, and happy that you're with us this morning. Let's now talk about Obsequious, who does go in the matron, and I noticed that she is a $70,000 Eastern May juvenile. Were you involved in the purchase?
I was a little bit. I went to Timonium to look at her with my owner, and they basically bought her as a broodmare prospect because she's got such a strong page.
She does.
And alas, she can run a little bit. So you know, it was a great deal. She's not the most correct horse in the world. That's why she went for $70,000. But she has never put a foot wrong and done anything wrong, and we're pretty excited about it. We feel legit being there today.
So you
And
took.
her-
Go ahead.
Well, her breeding suggests she can go all day long, so we're not really worried about the added distance.
Oh, I'm with you there 100%. So you took her home from the sale, I'm assuming. How did she, as you prepared her for her first race, how did she come along?
You know what? Very easy. She really had a good base on her. I think her second time in the starting gate, she flew out of there, so I knew that wasn't going to be a big deal. And every breeze got better and better, and her fitness was so easy to obtain. And I loved her going into her first race, but I thought, you know, me winning a race at Saratoga was like winning the lottery.
You know,
So,
go ahead.
you know, so I thought I was a little bit in shock afterwards, but and she came out of it, you know, like she never ran.
Well, we're going to look at that right now. They've just left the gate. Her Saratoga debut for our audience, she's number 5 in here on the 16th of August, going 5.5. Liz, now tell our audience about her performance that day.
Well, she broke alertly, and we obviously got a little bit nervous when that horse got in front of her, but she pinned her ears and dug in, and Edgar said he had a lot left in the tank, and what a nice filly she was. She was very, very professional, and it was like she ran breeze 3/8 a mile. She did everything right.
And we're seeing her turn for home right now. And Liz, this is a marvelous debut, so I have to ask you right off the bat, you're thinking, okay, she's stakes bound. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, good.
No, not at all. I thought, let's go in an allowance race.
Yep.
And when we looked at when it was, really didn't want to wait that long. So we thought, let's just go ahead and prep for the matron and enter, and if it comes up too tough, then we'll scratch and go in the allowance race. But looking at the entries, it is an allowance race. Everybody just broke their maiden. I think there's obviously a couple horses that need to watch out for. Jimmy Jerkin's filly's got so much experience and distance and ran second in the Adirondack. But everybody else pretty much just broke their maiden, so I think it's a level playing field.
Liz, last Monday at the Oklahoma, she worked 5 in 1:04. Very, very nice work, best of the day. Surely that felt that you strengthened your hand coming into this race.
I thought so. There aren't a whole lot of horses that can do that. Ryder never asked her for anything, and she just skipped over it. So, yeah, that, the clocker, quote unquote, said, "Oh my God."
Wow. Okay.
We talked about it, and I said, I think we definitely need to go for it.
Liz, you mentioned earlier in this interview about a very strong pedigree. There's some heavy turf and there's some heavy long turf. So you got her as a brood mare. It turned out she can run, and it seems you have another option. I mean, she can go both surfaces, huh?
Well, it's funny. After the purchase, it was a major discussion to run her on the turf.
Yeah.
And if you look back, we breezed her on the turf at Saratoga, and it was hard to decide which one was better. But when she black-letter worked out of the starting gate at Belmont Park, I said, we have got to run her on the dirt first. We can always go to the grass later. So, I think it was a good decision to run her on the dirt. Obviously, it worked out that way. And we can always go to turf later.
No doubt. Well, Liz, go ahead.
You have to think if she likes the grass, she may like the poly.
Yeah.
So you figure out where that's